Hello and welcome to battery changing training. In today's video, we will look at several drivers changing batteries. Now, this training does not replace your regular classroom or your hands-on training, but is to be used as an additional resource in that training. So let's get started. First of all, in today's video, we'll look at the two types of batteries. One is a closed type with a lid. The other type of battery is open, and this is usually used in trucks that have a cover, or we have a hood covering and protecting the driver. Here you see the driver opening up the hood. That hood protects the driver. Here we see the driver attaching the Velcro tie to the connector cable. That's very important because we've had many battery explosions when that cable falls down. So it's important that you tie it up. Here the driver uses the controllers to bring the hoist into position. You'll notice how he lifts up one end, that lowers the other, and that way he can get it into the hole for the hooks to go in. He attaches the other, he lifts up and puts tension on it, and he goes back and reinsures that the hook is in position before lifting it out of the truck. The driver now moves the battery out of the battery compartment of the truck and into the lane. After doing that, he vacuums out under the compartment where the drive motor is. Here the driver is taking the battery down the lane, lowers it in between the angle iron that's in the lane. He removes the hoist and moves it to the side. Then he goes and attaches the charger to the battery cable so that the battery can be charged, and he lifts the lid. Then he goes to the new battery and he Velcro ties the new cable up so it won't fall down in transport. Now he's moving the new battery down the lane. Notice how he holds on to it from time to time to keep it under control. Make sure he has the proper height to clear all the batteries. Once reaching the end, he will lower it into position, get everything straight. It's a real tight fit, so we have to take his time to get it started into the battery compartment. Using the controllers, he moves the hoist forward and in the compartment. Here he came up a little bit short, so he has to pick it up again, go forward a little bit more, and then lowers it in place. Then he removes the hoist and moves it back safely. He hangs on to it to gain control. He removes the cable with the Velcro tie, and he closes the hood. Let's now look at another driver changing a battery. Here we have another driver hooking the battery. Notice this is an open top battery. Here the driver is taking the battery down the lane. Here you see the driver lowering the battery into the lane. He's very careful not to set it on another battery, which could result in the hooks coming out, so you want to be really careful. Here the driver is picking the battery up out of the lane, and with the controller he moves it down the lane to his truck. Here the driver lowers the battery to the proper height before putting it into the truck. Using the controller, he eases it into the battery compartment of the truck. It is a tight fit, so he has to be really careful. After reaching in the compartment, he lowers it in place, removes the hooks, lifts it up, and backs it back into the lane. Here you see the driver plugging up the battery to the truck and lowering the hood. Let's now look at one more driver. Here you notice that the battery in the truck of the next driver has been centered to the lane by using the markers on the floor. This next driver cleans and sanitizes her face shield before using. The driver now puts on the face shield. Notice how she turned her hat around backwards to make it more comfortable and easier to put on. She lifts a little lever right there, you'll see it there, and that allows her to pick up the seats. The driver now secures the battery connector cable with the Velcro tie. The driver now picks up the battery restraint, goes back to the controller and the hoist and moves it into place so that she can remove the battery. Here the driver hooks up the battery to the hoist. She gets the back hook in, moving the connector out of the way, which sometimes does get in the way. She secures the front hook, puts tension on the hoist, and goes and verifies that the back hook is in place. The driver now picks up the battery and slowly moves it out of the battery compartment of the truck and into the lane. She picks up the battery high enough to clear all the other batteries and starts moving it down the lane, and she controls it with her hand. Notice that she's wearing gloves. This is highly recommended. The driver now gets to where she wants to put it down into the lane, into one of those slots there. Notice how she's very careful to lower it and not set it down on one of the adjacent batteries. This could take slack out of the hooks and could drop the battery. So she carefully puts it in between the angle iron and sets it down into the lane. After placing the battery into the lane, she now moves the hoist down and prepares the new battery to be picked up. She finds her battery and flips the lid. The driver now hooks up the new battery, picks it up a little bit, gets a little tension on the hooks, goes around to the back side, verifies the hooks are in there properly, and Velcro ties the cable to the top. Next, she goes back and undoes the Velcro tie to the old battery. He then plugs up the battery to the charger. After securing the connector cable with the Velcro tie, she now prepares to pick up the battery. After moving down the lane, she now prepares to vacuum out under the battery compartment. After picking up the cover, she vacuums out any dust and debris that might be around the drive motor and the cables from dust that she may accumulate being on the floor. After placing the cover back into the battery compartment, she now prepares to place her battery into the truck. She slowly lowers the battery and aligns it with the truck. Again, this is a very tight fit. You have to be very careful. Here she moves the battery into the truck. She lowers the battery into the truck and undoes the hooks. Well, I hope you found this battery change training helpful. This has been a production of XLC Services.